Right now, on to the point. A license battle for immigrants who drive commercial trucks.
This immediately, for many people, was the death sentence of their careers.
California's plan to try to pump the brakes on revocations after the federal government got involved. From drunk driving accountability to e-bike safety, the new rules of the road to know for 2026. Growing wealth and tackling debt, how to practice better money habits and reach your financial goals. And the countdown is on to the end of 2025. The extra steps police are taking to make a safe old Sacramento celebration. Well, the California DMV is extending the cancellation date of about 17,000 commercial driver's licenses given to immigrants. Instead of January 5th, they are pushing it to March 6th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. And this extension is causing tension at the federal level and a response from Governor Gavin Newsom himself. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us in studio to break down why.
Alex, this extension comes just as two organizations recently sued the state over the cancellation of these CDLs. These organizations represent a large population of the Sikh community and say heightened criticisms of the community has caused chaos and fear.
I think the timing here is the fact that we filed this lawsuit and there is mounting public pressure.
Last week, the Sikh Coalition and Asian Law Caucus filed this lawsuit against the California Department of Motor Vehicles, demanding it to stop canceling commercial driver's licenses from a majority of immigrant drivers. The DMV said it planned to revoke CDLs issued to immigrants after finding expiration dates on licenses and work permits extended beyond the legal status in the U.S.
We are glad to know now that that the DMV is now not scheduled to cancel anyone's license before March 6th.
On Tuesday, the DMV announced it would extend its cancellation date of about 17,000 CDLs for an additional 60 days until March 6th. Instead of January 5th. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy posted on social media that the deadline is still January 5th. Duffy says the state is putting Americans at risk and will cut nearly $160 million in federal funding if the state misses the deadline. In response, Governor Gavin Newsom's office says the Department of Transportation was open to the extension 8 days ago. It's interactions like these that has caused heightened concerns within immigrant communities, especially within the Sikh community.
With the threat of immigration enforcement, carries immediate panic of possibly being returned back to that country, not having a place to go anymore. And it just brings up feelings of how am I going to survive?
Adding that many of the immigrant drivers they represent are working in the state legally.
We've been in touch with commercial drivers who hold all of these statuses, who have work authorization, and just because of the DMV's clerical error, we're told suddenly they would be excluded from an occupation that they had sought out and often invested years of their lives.
And the DMV says this extension will allow impacted drivers to find a solution to continue to work. And it's hopeful that the federal government will work in collaboration. Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you. Insurance subsidies that have helped millions of Americans pay for health coverage are set to end at midnight. The Affordable Care Act subsidies, or premium tax credits, help lower or eliminate the out-of-pocket cost of monthly premiums for people who buy coverage through Health Insurance Marketplace. Here in California, that is called Covered California, which 2 million people are enrolled. Now, the group anticipates at least 400,000 Californians will see their premiums skyrocket. In October and November, the subsidies became the sticking point during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. In January, the House is expected to vote on a Democrat-led bill that would see enhanced premium tax credits by 3 years. The California National Guard is no longer under federal control. According to Attorney General Rob Bonta, the Trump administration dropped its bid to keep the Guard federalized. The decision allows a court order to take full effect, returning command of the Guard to Governor Gavin Newsom after months of federal control. The administration's move followed a ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court in a related case. National Guard troops had been deployed in and around Los Angeles since June, but that deployment was ordered to end earlier this month. Troops will also soon leave Chicago and Portland. Hundreds of new laws are set to take effect tomorrow, and some of them regulate the rules of the road. I want to bring in ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh to break down the explanation of what drivers should keep in mind as they drive into the new year.
This will save lives.
This, the goal of California's many new traffic laws hitting the roads January 1st. What Doug Johnson with AAA of Northern California is referring to expands the existing slow down, move over law, which
requires drivers to change lanes or slow down significantly for stationary emergency vehicles, tow trucks, and road maintenance vehicles when their lights are flashing.
To all drivers.
In that situation where you're broken down and you're up on the shoulder, you might think, oh, well, I'm safe, I'm not in the lane of traffic, but it's actually one of the most dangerous places you can be.
Johnson says drivers can be fined up to $1,000, especially repeat offenders. According to AAA, California ranks second in the nation for deaths outside disabled vehicles.
Get over as far as you can to the shoulder of the road and stay in your vehicle until a tow truck can come help you.
The CHP says enforcement is typically like,
so if we see any vehicles that come through the construction zone at an unsafe speed, or they weave in through the cone pattern or go through some of these closures, then we're able to make these stops on these vehicles and take appropriate action.
Another traffic topic often of concern, driving under the influence. Starting January 1st, offenders who take someone's life will receive up to 3 to 5 years of probation as part of their sentencing instead of 2.
Most people, 51% of Americans, do support lowering the drinking limit from 0.08 to 0.05.
Off the highways, electric bicycle safety is priority. The new law states all types of e-bikes, pedal or motor run, must have a red reflector or flashing light in the back at all times, not just at night.
The uptick in crashes associated with not only bicycles, but e-bikes now, and also scooters. And this is in hopes that there will be more visibility.
Jenny Hutt, ABC 10.
Now, a lot is changing, so I really suggest that you go over to our streaming special. It is on the ABC 10 streaming app right now. Our team broke down California's newest laws in 2026 and how they impact you. You can stream that special right now on our free ABC 10 app. Well, we are still hours away from ringing in the new year here on the West Coast, but it's already January 1st and other parts of the world. The party already got started out in New Zealand with huge fireworks. Take a look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And right now, thousands of people are gathered at Times Square in New York City getting ready to watch that iconic crystal ball drop at midnight. We will be streaming the ball drop on the ABC 10 app. Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve also airs all night on ABC 10. And back here, crowds are gathering for the countdown in Old Sacramento. Sacramento police say that they are stepping up patrols while organizers say, look, the event is moving forward, rain or shine. ABC 10's Austin Castro has more from Old Sacramento tonight.
Despite the wet weather we've been seeing tonight, people are making their way here to Old Sacramento for the New Year's Eve festivities. The event getting underway earlier at 5 p.m. and with thousands of people expected to flock to the area, Sacramento police say safety remains top of mind. The skies over Old Sacramento will light up with fireworks, rain or shine, to ring in the new year. Crews could be seen setting up for the Countdown on the Cobblestones event, including a tree decorated for 2026.
I love the old town. He's never been here before.
I've never been here before.
So just experience something new with each other.
Cold, snowy.
Rob and Rebecca Shoemaker made the trek from Reno and opted to come a little earlier given the wet weather.
We decided to enjoy it this morning, and then tonight we'll probably sit by the fireplace and have a little bit of some nice quiet time inside.
But for those planning to be out Wednesday night, Sacramento police are taking extra steps to keep attendees safe, especially given past New Year's incidents in Old Sac.
There's going to be a lot of pedestrian and vehicle traffic throughout downtown, throughout Old Sac. So most importantly, if you can, plan ahead. Plan a ride share, never drink and drive, and remember to be patient.
Businesses like Last Stop Saloon appreciate the extra patrols. They say New Year's Eve is typically one of their busiest days, and the early festivities help drive people to their bar.
This will be our third New Year's, and yeah, it's great that they do the fireworks at 9 p.m. It kind of gets people out early. They stay late, so yeah, we love it.
This year, the Old Sac festivities won't extend until midnight, with the countdown scheduled for 9 p.m. Organizers are hoping the earlier time will lead to a more family-friendly atmosphere.
Going on the Delta King again for New Year. I go, what?
Those like Bob and Joanna Huffman from Manteca say they're making the most of the celebrations and looking forward to being out for the festivities.
We've had a little rough year this year, and we just thought we needed to get away
and bring in the new year.
Back out here, the party is getting started. We got the tree, we got the music, we got the stage, a lot of fun to be had. Now, the fireworks show is scheduled to happen at 9 p.m. rain or shine. All of the festivities here set to conclude by 10 p.m. We have all of the information on road closures and parking information over on our website. That's abc10.com. In Old Sacramento, Austin Castro, ABC 10.
And if you do not want to go out, we will be streaming the Old Sacramento Fireworks Show around 9 tonight. We will also have a stream from New York City as the ball drops. And later in the evening, you can watch the fireworks show in Seattle starting at 11:30 until midnight. And that is all completely free on the ABC 10 app. Still ahead on To the Point, childcare funding frozen in all 50 states. The Trump administration cites fraud concerns while Minnesota's governor calls it political weaponization. And ending 2025 with mixed signals for your wallet. Jobless claims are down and mortgage rates are easing, but some prices are still climbing.
And a weather impact alert is now in effect, continues through Sunday. We're looking at valley rain, which we already have tonight, but more on the way, and several feet of zero snow this weekend. I've got a full breakdown of the forecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. Flu cases are increasing. Most states are seeing high or very high activity, with levels rising nationwide. The CDC estimates there have been at least 7.5 million illnesses from flu this season, based on data through December 20th. Genetic testing indicates a new flu variant appears to be behind the vast majority of the cases in the U.S. NFL star Stefon Diggs is facing strangulation and assault charges. A woman claims the Patriots receiver slapped and tried to strangle her. According to a police report, the woman says that she was working as a private chef at Diggs' home when the two argued over her pay, which allegedly led to a physical altercation. Diggs' attorney says Diggs denies the allegations, and a section of the Angeles Crest Highway collapsed near the Mount Waterman ski lifts after a holiday storm. The roadway was closed for several miles in both directions. The landslide happened in the Angeles National Forest. Caltrans says the storm caused significant damage to the roadbed in at least 4 locations. There are no reports of crashes or injuries. It's not clear how long it will take to repair the road so it can reopen. Welcome back in. That rain is already starting to move in. Let's get things over to meteorologist Brendan Minchev tracking the latest for us.
Yeah, it is a soggy New Year's Eve out there, and I think that's really the best word to use to describe what we've got tonight. It's not a heavy rain, but it is definitely a light rain that is pretty steady, and that just, again, is making things soggy for the final few hours of 2025. And we'll start off 2026 soggy as well. Has, again, not been a heavy rain. We've only seen a few hundredths of an inch of rain across Northern California today, and it's not really going to get any heavier through the evening. There'll be pockets of some more moderate rainfall. You see a little bit there near the 505 icon there, just north of Vacaville Fairfield. Anytime we see the yellow there, it's a little bit more moderate, but this is not heavy rain. I don't expect it to be heavy through the rest of this evening. Once we get into the overnight hours, yeah, then we'll see more of that moderate to heavy rainfall coming through. But that's after I think a lot of us have already wrapped up our New Year's Eve celebrations. So make sure you dress for the wet weather, but also dress fairly warm. We are in the 40s right now, 48 in Sacramento, and 40s across the rest of the valley. Thursday morning, well, we're still going to be in those 40s with some rain through the overnight and to start tomorrow morning, but then more off and on rain as we get into Thursday afternoon. So not a rain all day type of thing. There'll be rain chances all day long, but it's not going to be actively raining all day long tomorrow. Also, temperatures, by the way, in the 50s. That's 10 degrees warmer than where we were today. Winter storm watch goes into effect for the high country beginning at 4 o'clock on Friday because we have kind of round 1 and round 2. Round 1's happening right now. This is a warmer storm. That's why we're going to be in those upper 50s to near 60 the next couple days. Friday night into Saturday morning, that second round comes in. That's going to bring us some heavier rain and the colder air, which will lower those snow levels. So again, as we saw that rain moving through during the overnight, but by the time we get into lunchtime and through the afternoon, rain chances, but it's a lot more scattered, isolated thunderstorm potential. Thursday into Friday, we're going to continue to see some rain chances, but for the most part, Friday should be dry. The heavier stuff comes in late Friday into Saturday morning. That's when we'll see those snow levels develop, and it'll be like that for the rest of the weekend. We'll see some of that rainfall in the valley and snow in the high country. Breezy tomorrow out of the south, wind gusts 15 to 25 miles per hour. Thursday evening and winds die down. They'll come back Friday afternoon, but the strongest winds will push in by the time we get to the overnight period Friday, Saturday. Not the 60-mile-an-hour gusts we saw last week, not looking at that at all, but still enough to take note, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Tonight, an important warning from the Postal Service why your mail may not be postmarked the day you drop it off. Coming up, what you can do to make sure that it is stamped on time. And the holidays are over, but the debt hangover is not. Millions of Americans are starting the new year owing more, and experts say paying it down should be a top priority. Welcome back in. Funding for childcare is now frozen in all states. The Trump administration made the move after allegations of fraud at Minnesota daycare centers run by Somali residents. All 50 states will now have to provide more verification for the childcare centers that receive funds from the Childcare and Development Fund. That's according to the Department of Health and Human Services. Minnesota will have to provide additional verification on top of the new requirements for centers that are suspected of fraud. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz accuses President Trump of weaponizing the allegations for political gains. And jumping into your price points now on this last day of 2025, we're getting a reality check of the economy. Take a look at this. The latest weekly jobless numbers of the year came out today, showing fewer Americans applying for unemployment benefits. 199,000 Americans applied last week. That is down 16,000 from the previous week. It is a sign layoffs remain low despite a weakening job market. And if you are looking to buy a home in 2026, mortgage rates are dropping. The average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage is 6.2%. That is down from 7% a year ago. So, for example, if you're taking out a $400,000 home loan, your monthly payment is now $2,289 versus $2,473 at the start of the year. More good news here. Gas prices have also gone down, but prices have gone up for gas, utilities, daycare, rent, restaurants, and groceries. Most analysts expect the impact of tariffs on higher prices will fade toward the middle of next year. Now, we all know this is the season for New Year's resolutions. I was just asking Brendan about his, but one of them for you could be putting money back into your pocket. So tonight, reporter Jen Sullivan has tips on growing your finances.
It's a hangover that can't be cured in a day. Holiday debt. And it's a financial headache hanging over millions of Americans after the holidays. A recent survey from LendingTree found 37% of respondents racked up holiday debt, averaging around $1,200.
Among the priorities Americans should have for the new year, pay down highest cost debt.
Mark Hamrick with personal finance site Bankrate says paying off debt is the first thing people should do to reset their finances in 2026. Next, he says take a hard look at your monthly spending.
My personal preference would be that somebody probably doesn't allocate more than a third of their monthly income to those kinds of housing-related expenses.
Hamrick says rising energy costs have made utilities more expensive, so housing costs may eat up more of your budget.
The reality for homeowners is that this is a very volatile price environment.
Hamrick says your household should have an emergency fund of at least $1,000. And here's how you can grow your money in the future. Hamrick says to put more money into a high-yield savings account, which can have an annual return of about 4%. So let's crunch some numbers in this Bankrate calculator. If you put $5,000 into an HYSA with a 4% annual return and you contribute $100 a month, in 10 years, you'll have made more than $5,000 just in interest, growing your account to more than $22,000. Also look into certificates of deposit known as CDs. Those accounts also offer a fixed interest rate.
The U.S. Postal Service has a warning tonight. Your mail might not get postmarked the same day that you drop it off. That's important when you need to have something postmarked by a certain day, like if you're paying your taxes or even voting by mail. A new rule clarifies that a postmark doesn't necessarily reflect the date the Postal Service accepted possession of it. Postmarks are applied at regional mail processing hubs, but a Postal Service overhaul has eliminated multiple daily trips between post offices and those hubs. Now, officials say customers can still bring their mail to the post office and ask for a manual postmark if they need a day of date stamp. We're back after this. Before we go, here's another live look at Times Square in New York City, where people are getting ready to ring in the new year. Midnight is just 2 hours away on the East Coast. We will be live streaming the ball drop on our ABC 10 app. So many people out there already ready to go. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. I know our To The Point team really appreciates all the emails, all the messages, and definitely all the story ideas that you guys send us each and every day. So thank you from the bottom of our heart, and we'll see you in the next year.